And now it is time for everybody's favorite moment of the week. What are you doing, Michael?
The bottom line. That's what we call it.
It's called the bottom line, aka the terrible twos. Everybody calls it the terrible twos. Michael calls it the bottom line. It's the final two questions of the show. The two most important questions. Question number one is Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Here we go. We're going in hard. We're going in hot. Scale of 1 to 10.
Hard and hot.
You know, we're turning up the heat. Scale of 1 to 10.
So yeah, this one, like I mentioned, I liked it. It's cute, as Rico would say. It's cute. Magical.
He says it's cute.
It's cute. It's magical, as I always like. That's why Fantasy Month to me has been great, because we're watching all these cool magical shows and
love it.
Yeah, so magical, it takes place on a magical world, but there's also like technology too. So it's a mix of magic, techno magic, knowledge, and I quite enjoyed it. I thought the pace of the story was well done, and I'd never watched She-Ra or that much He-Man when I was younger. So unlike both of you, I'm not traumatized by the changes made. And so for this first episode, I give it a 7.7.
Wow, boy, oh boy.
Wow. Yeah.
7'7" is how tall Boban is, and I believe
but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Prince She-Ra, Princess of Power, and the Princesses of Power.
George Murison. Remember George Murison on like the Bullets? I believe he was 7'7". Manute Bol was said to be 7'7", but he's more like 7'6". Anyway.
So basically, what we now are going to do is ask Melissa what she would give this on.
Why are you changing the subject? We were talking about basketball, Michael, and
you changed the subject. I was talking about She-Ra.
She-Ra. Okay, so yes, I am a bit biased, but for me, this She-Ra didn't inspire me to be a powerful woman like the old She-Ra inspired me to be a powerful woman. Even as a kid, so and there was some great stuff, and I like the initial opening and with how the music came in, and the animation was great, and I do like the woman who plays Shadow Weaver. She's been in a lot of other stuff, and this is the first time I've ever heard her do voiceover work for a show. But she's always been an effective actress, in my opinion.
So Lorraine Toussaint.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't thrilled with it overall. I didn't hate it, but so I'm going to give it a 4.9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
As regular fans of this show will know, according to the Sussman scale, that means she didn't like it.
Well, no, he says 4.
No, he clarified that below 5.
He keeps moving the goalpost.
Like it. Above 5.
Yeah, so it's just teetering.
That's what I took as his.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that a 4.9 is the ultimate non-committal answer, because if you think about it, it's like somebody that's non-committal is
5 is most.
Well, no, because somebody that's non-committal is going to be like, I'm just going to give it a 5 right down the middle. But then if you can't commit to giving it, you're like, well, I don't want it to say that it's like perfectly down. Okay, 4.9 there. Okay, now I'm just off to the side. I'm not
or
5.1.
5, no, because Josh was pretty clear that 5 and above that you liked it, and 5 below you didn't like it, and 4.9 was I almost liked it.
Yeah, Josh Sussman lives rent free on this show. Definitely mention him a lot. So stay tuned, everybody. You might see him again soon, maybe even next week. You never know. We know, but you don't.
Liked it. Maybe that is non-committal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll tell y'all on a scale of 1 to 10 what I would give this show. I'm going to give this one a straight 6. And I'll tell you why. Because that's what it deserves. So question number 2, a little bit more on that is that, yeah, there are some things that weren't that great about it, but I can tell that this is going to be a very good show in the long run. And again, like with all things that are derivative of source material or have an existing franchise, they're going to be a lot more patient. They're not trying to grab you in that first episode because they feel like most people that know She-Ra are going to watch She-Ra and are going to give it a little bit more leeway. And they don't really need to put their claws into you on that first episode. They're like, they'll watch, they'll stick with it. And with the foundation that they laid, I can tell it's going to get bigger and better as the story progresses. So I have a feeling this is a series that's actually going to be much higher than a 6. But this first episode itself, in a vacuum, all we're watching is this first episode right now, is a 6. However,
I got Ryan to start saying She-Ra.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they called it, She-Ra. I don't know.
I think it's She-Ra. Whatever.
Charade. So question number 2 is the real nitty-gritty. This is the one that Netflix tunes in for. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Canyon Rosenberg, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode? Part 2 of The Sword.
Unlike Melissa, this She-Ra did inspire me to be a powerful woman. So I would watch the second episode. I'm kind of dying to know what happens. Like, what happens now that she's got the sword? What happens now that she's She-Ra? Like, what's going to happen now? How's the Horde going to react? How's Katra going to react? You know, I almost said Katya, but Katra, yeah.
Well, Katra's a Vulcan thing. But...
Oh, Katra, they said, yeah, Katra is what that's how they pronounce it, Katra. So how is she going to react? What's Hordak look like? I never saw Hordak in the original He-Man or She-Ra.
Skull face.
Thanks for spoilers. Jeez. So he's exactly the same as Skeletor. Okay, so they're brothers too.
He's got a thing.
They look different.
And
but there's like
ears.
bones all the way around his thing and here. And, yeah.
You're just spoiling it more. Okay, so I'll be watching because I want to see these things. So
I bet Mike was like sweating, wanting to watch the next episode. He's like, "Oh, I really, but I gotta wait. This is killing me."
Kind of, except I just watched it this morning before we recorded, so I didn't have time to anyway.
You didn't watch the second? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saved it for this morning too because I wanted to feel like Saturday morning cartoons. I wanted to have like that morning cartoon feeling.
But it's Wednesday.
I know, but that's why I just wanted a Monday,
it's Wednesday
a morning
evening.
Feeling. That's all I wanted when I watched it. So, Melissa Longo, would you, of your own volition, watch the second episode out of curiosity, anger, or otherwise?
Spite.
Rage.
Actually, no, I won't.
Wow. Is that a first?
Yeah, I'm not actually interested to see where it goes, and I have other shows that I'd rather watch.
Well, having other shows that you'd rather watch is a completely different topic. What we're asking is,
good point.
Would you watch the second episode of this show? Irregardless,
first?
Irregardless.
Watch the first? Yes.
Of how much time you have.
But She-Ra, no. I'm not as curious to see what happens to them. I personally was not invested in the characters enough to say, oh, what's going to happen next?
You know what may have been lacking? Fun. I think watching He-Man and She-Ra back in the day was fun. This was a little less fun. Yeah. Okay, so I would not watch the second episode.
Obviously.
I mean, it certainly was closer than I expected. Because it's fine. I have a feeling it's going to get good. And our friend Mohammed was trying to spoil it, saying how great it is later on. So that just piques the interest a little bit more, and also validates the idea that it does seem like as a series it'll be good. Theoretically, we'll see. But no, I would not of my own volition watch the second episode. Although
there you have it.
I do have a slight curiosity as to when the other characters get introduced and what's going to happen there and all that. So we'll have to ask Mike to let us know.
Not going to tell you.
No,
not going to tell you. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. If I do continue to watch this, I will not tell you when other characters show up.
I will say that I
Google
did
it.
watch the preview after, like the trailer, and that kind of piqued my interest, but not enough to watch the second.
Interesting. I'll go check that out. All right, everybody, that's it. You've gotten our answers. Now, in the comments below, tell us what you'd like us to review. Type in WTF He-Man. But remember, we've already done the first He-Man, the second He-Man, but not the brand new He-Man.
There's like, a new one that we haven't done yet.
Mm-hmm. Or
I think the brand new one
original.
we just did.
No,
the Kevin Smith one. There's a new one out.
There's a new one that came out literally the year after the new Kevin Smith one. The Kevin Smith one was like 2020. There was a new one that came out in 2021.
The Kevin Smith one came out last year.
Well, there's
Kevin
a new
Smith
one
came out
since
last year.
then.
Whoa.
There's literally a new one since then.
I think there's a new one that was like. I think there's a new one that came out just before the Kevin Smith one.
It was after. I'm going to look it up real quick while Melissa stalls us by telling us her least favorite character.
On this show was Glimmer.
Obviously, I could have guessed that.
Okay, so
I could have guessed that. Her second least favorite, Bo.
So look at this. This is the world of Hemen.
Kyle.
Okay, so Masters of the Universe Revelation, that came out in whatever that was, 2021. You're right, Michael, right?
Yeah.
Then there's this. Look at this He-Man. How is that even He-Man?
Whoa.
How is this? How the heck is this even He-Man, right? And this was
maybe it's
2022, and they already have 2 seasons.
What?
Yeah,
what the heck?
There was literally Netflix released there's another He-Man series in 2021 and 2022, totally different from each other.
Right.
It's very
and
strange.
There's another one too. There's another one that maybe came out in 2020.
Really?
Okay, so I have a question. If He-Man is He-Man, why are they going to make He-Man a kid?
Oh yeah, he's He-Boy.
Not a man yet. He would be He-Boy, right?
And why does He-Man look like an X-Men, right? He looks like an X-Man.
Is
right?
that a picture of He-Man?
I don't know, but that's the main picture for He-Man.
Right.
So
Who
weird.
knows? Netflix does weird stuff with their thumbnails though sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not always the main character.
Well, it looks like there's a Orko there. Anyway, so hey, we'd be willing to do one more He-Man, even if it's He-Boy. And so we will check that out.
Well, like I said, there's at least 2 more He-Mans then that we haven't watched.
Are you sure there's another one? Oh,
yeah, there's one.
Yes,
there's one. He looks like a.
It came out maybe like 15 years ago or something.
Oh.
No, just a couple years ago.
Yes.
Maybe there's 3 He-Mans.
I remember that one too. They're like super short and stumpy, right?
Right. That one.
You're right. That's another He-Man. But then there was one that came out. There was one that came out maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And our friend Aaron Musicant was obsessed with it. And he watched it and collected all these toys from it and stuff. And he was all for it. But that was maybe right around 2000. So that means there's 3 more
He-Man shows for us to watch. Ryan's giddy over that. How many She-Ras though? Okay, we need to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not that many She-Ras.
At 2 or 3 She-Ras. That's all we know.
Yeah. Probably a couple more My Little Ponies too. So.
Well, yeah, they keep redoing those, right? My Little Pony, My Little Pony.
So Ryan's going to tell us now what this podcast was.
I'm looking for the He-Man with the short people.
Okay, well, don't worry about that later. And we need to wrap
I
this
want to
up.
see the He-Man with short people.
Yeah. So basically, what we're trying to say is, I'm just buying it. I can't find it. Let me just type in short people.
Right. I'm sorry I brought it up now.
Right? They're like stumpy.
Yeah, they are short. Yes, that's the one I was thinking of. And this podcast was
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I can't find it. All right, everybody in the live chat, let us know in the live chat and in the comments below all the different He-Man iterations and where we can find them.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a He-Man month.
Maybe we'll have to.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna have to come out with at least one more.
What we're trying to say is this podcast was painful for Michael at the end.
Yeah, especially at the end. Yeah. This podcast had a lot of bickering.
Ooh, and snickering.
Oh, this podcast was unpredictable.
It definitely was. It definitely was, wasn't it?
Unpredictable.
Anyway, so
like, share it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Tell us what to watch in the comments below. And don't forget what Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say, which is don't forget, register to be an organ donor at donatelife.net. And when you're done with that, don't forget to watch the first of things.
Dang, I still can't find it though. Anyway, freeze frame like your favorite He-Man or She-Ra character. I don't know who my favorite character is.
This is Swirlio, a character I just made up. Swirlio. Swirlio Phantasmicon. And I actually none.